A baby Yoda cake. That's right, today I'm going to be showing you how to make, wow, this adorable. I did such a good job on this cake. I don't mean to humble brag, but seriously, I just did that. That's crazy. I love the way this turned out. It's probably the most adorable cake I've ever made. I always say that, but this is the truth. Hi everyone, my name is Pedro Pascal. Let's get started. So if you haven't already seen my baby Yoda cake, I made this during the first episode of The Mandalorian. During episode 2, I realized that he could walk, and then he started walking, and I realized I wanted to do a cake where he was standing, and that's how this cake was born. Look at this. A little too much blush, but that's okay. I got really excited. Let's create this cake. I'm using my PVC pipe stand, and I'm starting off with a 7-inch round cake. Oh, it is funfetti. I know it doesn't look like funfetti, but it's Yoda, it's baby Yoda, and it's special, so I dyed it green. Now I'm using a 4-inch round cake to create his body. I was basically like creating a doll cake. Kind of, except I had to carve it a little bit. But I was draping a lot of fabric to make his little Yoda outfit. We got a support system, and then I'm going to add 2 half dome cakes. Oh, we got some buttercream in the middle. And if you notice, I made a hole at the top of my PVC pipe so that I could insert a dowel. I know. I was preparing for his ears because I knew they were coming. But this was a mistake because I put the dowel too high, and so I couldn't actually use that hole to create his ears. Yeah. In hindsight, I would have put it lower and then it would have been a great idea, but now it was a terrible idea. Now I started to carve my Yoda cake. His body was very easy. I'm not actually creating a baby Yoda body. I'm just creating the shape of his, like, I don't know, what is that? Like a robe? Like a Jedi robe. Like a baby Jedi robe. Now once I was happy with his body, I started to work on his face. Now at the beginning, I kind of just flattened out the surface so that I could prepare it for all the features I was going to carve. I made a sort of concave shape so that I can create some room for his fondant eyes. And then I just ensured that he had really chubby cheeks. That you can't mess that up because that's what makes him really cute, I think. Because otherwise he'd just be a face full of wrinkles. We don't want that, do we? Now on went my crumb coat. Ooh. See, I used the dowels to kind of keep in mind where his ears would be, which was a mistake. Because they needed to be lower, and I thought that's where they should have been. I should have looked at my reference picture so much more. But I didn't because I got excited. I was moving way too fast. I don't really know what I'm supposed to say about Baby Yoda without giving away too many details about The Mandalorian. I know some of you aren't watching. I know some of you aren't caught up. So what do I say? He's cute. He's the most adorable frog-eating alien thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He drinks bone broth soup in the cutest way possible, and he minds his own business, which is... I wish I could say that about most of the people I know, but I can't. After I gave my cake a crumb coat, this is kind of the only coat I give fondant cakes, I started to add all of my fondant features. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted his eyebrows because I didn't think I did a good job carving them. So a little bit of fondant there just to make sure that they're highlighted. And I also added a little ball of fondant to give him his nose. Oh, but you can't see it because of the fondant on top. Well, that's okay. I'm covering my cake with lime green fondant. Yoda green fondant. I'm just gonna do his head because his body's gonna be in that fabric. So I cut away the extra, and there are 2 seams, but I placed them at the back of the cake and I just smoothed them out with my hand. I'm not worried about them because I put them right under the ears, so the ears are gonna cover them anyways. After that, it was time to start creating my baby Yoda face. I first emphasized his eyebrows, even though he doesn't have any, but he has a brow bone. So we want to get that. And then all of these wrinkles at the top, which would look very ugly on any other baby, except for Yoda, apparently. And then his tiny nose. I made his nose way too big in the other Yoda cake I created. Now, one thing that I kind of differed from all of my reference pictures is his smile, because he doesn't really have a smile. His face slopes down kind of like a pork. But I really wanted him to be happy. So I figured out a way to make him happy looking. Just gave him a smile and made sure that it was emphasized by his chubby cheeks. See, that's why his cheeks are very important. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my second channel, Mighty Mix. I'm posting all of my frozen doll cakes for the month of December, and I'm really proud of all of these cakes because I created my frozen doll cakes at different points of my cake learning experience. My first Elsa cake was one of my first doll cakes, and then it just slowly progressed. You can see all of the different techniques I learned and used throughout all of my doll cakes. So go subscribe. Now, I made some cavities for his eyes, and then I'm gonna fill them with some auburn orange fondant. I'm adding a ball of fondant into the middle so that it has more of a circular shape, because I wanted it to look like his eyes are popping out, you know. The first cake I made was a kawaii cake, and so all of his features were flat. This cake is far more realistic, so everything has to like stand out. Now, I added some eyelids with some green fondant, and I just blended the seams with a little bit of magic sauce. Oh, I was scared that it wasn't gonna blend, but it did. You can't see them really. So we got top and the bottom for the right side, and we're gonna do the exact same thing on the left. Can you see it? Oh man, without any pupils, he looks like he's gonna murder somebody. Are you mad, Yoda? Are you a Sith or are you a Jedi? I don't know, but with those eyes, I'm scared. Now it's time to create his ears. So I had to take out my dowel, readjust it so that I could put his ears lower. I'm adding smaller pieces of fondant just to create like the earlobes. They're thicker by his head and then they get thinner. Then I'm just going to wrap some very thin fondant around the earlobes to create each of his ears. Smart, right? That dowel, I was scared that the dowel was just gonna move down, so I made my fondant like super thin so that it wouldn't happen. Pray to God that it worked, and it did. So I added both ears and I just blended the fondant into the rest of Baby Yoda's face. After that, it was time to start creating this beautiful baby Jedi robe. So I've got some Jedi beige fondant. I'm putting it on the front and I'm wrapping him in panels of fondant. So we got one at the front first, and then I wanted the side panels to overlap the front so that it looked kind of like a coat. Baby Yoda, in every episode, I think that's all I'm watching. I can't believe he exists. I can't believe they dreamt him up for the Mandalorian series. I mean, he could have had his own series, but then they placed him here, and the contrast between the shooting and the baby watching the shooting and the baby eating soup, I don't know why, it's perfect. So after I wrapped my last piece of fondant around the back of Baby Yoda, I added 2 baby arms. Look at that. Oh, those arms are so tiny. I made his head too big on purpose so that he looked even cuter. Babies all got big heads, man. Now, to complete my Jedi robe, I'm going to wrap his neck with a nice thick piece of beige fondant to give him his collar. Ooh, that collar is so nice. Look at that. So if you've seen on Instagram, there's a meme where he's drinking his soup. That look is exactly how I look when I'm watching YouTube drama. Just watching all of the drama alert stuff. Just watching everything unfold. If he's not my spirit animal, I don't know what is. Now it was time to start painting my cake, and I was using luster dust without magic sauce, and so I decided to wrap the bottom of my cake so that none of the dust would fall on his robe. So I'm starting with his ears. I'm using a red luster dust just to get the red and pink in his ears. And if you don't wet it, it turns pink instead of red. Now I'm just using a dry paintbrush to paint around his eyelids as well as his mouth and his nose. I put some on his cheek. I put a little too much on his cheek. I got really excited. He's so cute. But it makes him look like he's blushing, this guy. Now after I did all of the dry sort of luster dusting, I started to add black food coloring to create his pupils. They're huge, huge black pupils. But the reason I decided to create his eye with the auburn orange fondant first was so that there'd be a hint of it on the sides so that his eyes didn't look completely black. If you watch The Mandalorian, then you know that he has brown eyes. I wanted to make sure that they didn't get lost. After that, my Baby Yoda cake was complete. Look at those. Those ears could fly a kite, they could. I love this cake. How adorable is that? It doesn't look like a cake. It looks a little too real. Man, I really wish I made a doll, because then I could just have it like sitting in the background. But no, so I gotta eat it. Gotta kill the Baby Yoda. Nobody should ever kill the Baby Yoda. But he's gonna taste good though. Now I'm curious, what do you guys think of The Mandalorian? Please tell me you're watching it. Please go watch it. It is bomb. I know a lot of you who don't watch Mandalorian probably just know Yoda from the memes now. There are a ton of Baby Yoda memes on Instagram. But I want you to get to know him on a deeper level. I want you to watch Mandalorian and I want you to appreciate everything that is Baby Yoda. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you. I will see you very soon. Peace!